So every animal on the place is fed a mixed ration. Most of them are all about the same. This is dried distilled greens. It's pretty potent stuff. It's full of protein, loaded with protein. Get it out of Richardson, North Dakota. I like to put it in first because there's some chunks in the distillers, so that mixer will kind of break it up some. Especially after it sits all winter and then it gets cold and hot and moisture. Kind of there to get some chunks on the top layer. This load will go to 6 pens of heifer calves. I'll only give, there's only 800 pounds of that to the calves. Then we feed a pretty high straw diet. There's quite a bit of straw in each load. It really cheapens up the ration. We'll put in just straight 2,000 pounds of straw. It's cheaper than buying just straight hay. These set of bales, they came out of just south of Rudyard, Montana. They're 4x4s, rotary straw, non-irrigated. Some of the other bales we have is they're irrigated bales. They're the 3x4s we put up ourselves. The thing I like about squares is they really work good for our operation. They don't take up as much space. For feeding wise, we can split the bales, and then we can take so much off that bale. Say a ration only needs part of the bale. We'll only take that part of the bale rather than if we had rounds. It'd be a little bit more taxing to take apart a round bale. And then the strings, we can take all the strings off of them. Except for when we grind hay, we gotta leave one string on them bales, hold them together, makes it go by faster. Anything that goes through the tub mixer, we take all the strings off, and that's a lot easier on the cattle. They don't have to eat as much plastic. Or they're not getting any plastic at all. So here we'll put in 2,300 pounds of straw on this load. And then there'll only be 750 pounds of hay. Oat too. We put we mix oat hay with just straight alfalfa. Seems to work pretty well. We put this oat hay up ourselves. The alfalfa, we had to buy quite a bit of alfalfa hay this year, but the oat hay and the straw, we put up all, except for the stuff we just bought. But yeah, like you can see, that was the oat pile. Now I'll just go to the hay because there ain't too much. We don't feed too much of either, so it's just quicker to just drop both of them at the same time. I've been feeding cattle for 6 years now, and I kind of know exactly how much is in a bucket at a time, so this makes it go by quicker. Feeding feedlot cattle for 6 years. Next we have Pea Dust. We get that from the local elevator in Chinook. It's basically, we call it Pea Dust. It's pea screenings off of green or yellow peas. Off the truck it'll come in yellow, starts to kind of get black. And this stuff's only a year old. It'll start to get kind of black over time. And then the deer love this stuff, so I mean they just annihilate this pile. This stuff, it's pretty chunky too. Sometimes you get the top layer, it gets a little chunky. That's what I really like about this tub grinder. The knives, they really bust up those chunks and then they break it down so cattle aren't wasted. Such a big product like that. This stuff's fairly cheap too. You know, we get it to $30-40 a ton normally. Don't quote me on that. It changes monthly. But yeah, so normally I get each bucket I get, I come within pretty close how much I need, so I don't have to go back to the pile and then dump what I didn't need. Next, last one I put in is silage. That's the wetter matter. We put up all our silage. The pit we got here is it's 100 by 250 feet wide pit. You know, we had a hell of a silaging crew this year, and we put her up in just a matter of 3-4 days. And it was a very successful silage season for sure. Thanks to good help, good weather, minimal breakdowns. But you can see, I suppose that silage is, is pushing 20 feet tall. That kind of goes to show how much silage is in here. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of tons of silage in that pit, and we put a tarp on it and keep it clean so it don't mold. Generally, this top inch or two will mold even with a tarp, just because we're in Montana. And when it gets real cold, that top inch will turn into a brick. When it warms up, that moisture will come out of there. So, I like to put the silage in last because it's so heavy. It doesn't work the tractor as hard, and since it's so heavy, it'll work its way down to the bottom. They say put your heaviest feed in last so it mixes to its fullest. And then we'll mix it there. You can look at the mixer there, and that's a good load on there. With so much straw we're feeding so much straw, it takes up quite a bit of space. So you won't be able to get as heavy as a load. You know, that's only an 8,500 pound load. So I mean, it's not super heavy, but it fills up the tub. All right, well, let's go feed it. So here's this load of these heifers. We're pushing just about 70 head of pen, which is almost maxed out. It's kind of a windier day today. Homes will eat around. We can feed pretty fast with this mixer. Kind of just depends on what kind of load it is, but generally we can feed 2.5 them off pasture, they'll like it a lot better if you slowly start them on silage and chopped hay and dried distillers grains and pea dust and whatnot. But we're finally coming down to the last penny here. The dang wind's blowing a little bit, kind of blowing the feed around. But we live in Montana, so what do you expect, right? We do have a horizontal mixer truck, and we kind of put that. We have a few pens with some tires on it, and that truck works better with tires. It's a little bit slower to feed with, so when you move from tire to tire, it kind of loads up the chute, and you can it just works better to feed with that with tires than this, because this is so big. When it's a little muddy, the truck won't get around, so we'll use this. But so far this winter, it's been real nice. We've only had probably a good 3 weeks of cold. We had 2 weeks of about 40, 50 below wind chill, and that was miserable. And then we had a really early snowstorm, about 2 weeks worth too, in the fall there. But other than that, it's been a beautiful winter. We didn't go through near as much feed as we planned on. Knock on wood, winter ain't over yet, but we'll hope for the best, expect the worst. Yeah, that's one load there. We got a couple more to go.